So without any further ado, I would like to welcome our presenter, Dr. Willem Lammers. Dr. Lammers is a Swiss-Dutch psychotherapist, psychologist, and coach, and has been practicing for over 40 years. He founded and developed Logosynthesis, a new and elegant model for healing and development. I will now hand over to Dr. Lammers as he presents Logosynthesis, the power of words in healing and development.
Okay, thanks, Pam. Thanks for having me here. I'll start my presentation now. Share my screen. Something went wrong in sharing the screen. Yes, here we go. Okay, we go to desktop 2. Share the screen and start the presentation. So, Logosynthesis is the power of words in healing and development, and that sounds like maybe unfamiliar. If you don't know it, you will know what it is after these 50 minutes. So I have a program for you. What is logosynthesis? What is energy? 2 key characteristics of energy, the power of words and logosynthesis. And in the end, we are going to experiment. We will start with what is logosynthesis? And it's a word which is derived from 3 Greek roots. Logo means words, syn means together, and thesis means bringing or putting. And that, so literally it means bringing together with words. Logos, it also means something bigger, and that is what gives life meaning. So what is logosynthesis? It's a revolutionary model for self-coaching and guided change. Self-coaching means you can work with it on your own. Guided change, you can work with a professional in coaching, psychotherapy, counseling. It's based on the word power of words and sentences, and it changes energy fields. It's a whole system. It's not just a method. It is a philosophy, a basic attitude to our theoretical concept, and there is a whole series of methods of which I will introduce one during this session. So logosynthesis is not just a way of psychotherapy as any else. It combines ancient knowledge with concepts which are derived from psychotherapy and energy psychology, and it supports healing your connection with essence, which is the deepest source of your existence, and it gives life meaning. I've discovered this in 2005. I've been developing this since that time. The name is a registered trademark, so you can use it only with my permission. And in this online session, we can only teach some aspects of the model. There is much, much more, so don't think you know everything about logosynthesis after this hour. You have just one little part. We start from the assumption, the basic assumption or the principle that everything is energy. And from there, we have derived some other assumptions. So I'm going to part 2 of my presentation. What is energy? In the usual terms, is energy the potential to affect something? We need energy to move a car or to accelerate an object. We can heat a substance or an object. We can cook coffee or food. You can let an electric current flow, and you can radiate electromagnetic waves, and everything that's alive needs energy to live. And energy can be flow freely or be stored. So if a river is flowing, it's flowing freely, but it can also be stored in food and support you with carbohydrates or with fat or whatever. It can be stored in fossil fuels, in gas and oil. We are in Switzerland here, so we have a reservoir in the Alps, and you can store energy in your battery of your cell phone or your electric car. That's one thing. but energy is more. So the term energy has many meanings nowadays, and we are talking about another type of energy here. We have described the physical energy, and while other forms, matter is a form of energy, it's a very static, frozen form. Information is a form of energy. Awareness is, is a form of energy. And intention is a form of energy. And we are mostly talking in this session about energy as awareness, consciousness, intention. And consciousness and intention are creative forms of energy. And that means that new things can arise from them. If consciousness is there, something is able to be created. Intention means you're going to create, manifest something specific. And in logosynthesis work, we can activate those forms. And that's a very interesting process. But before I talk about that, I'm talking about the creative energy and its source. Because when we are living and we look at history and culture, that every form of spirituality and religion has its own name for this source of creative energy. We can call it God, we can call it the universe, we can call it the quantum field, the 0 point field, from which everything develops. And in logosynthesis, we call this source of energy essence. And that's where the meaning of your life comes from. And if I work with people, there are always two first questions. And it is, what is the meaning of your life? And many people don't know it, are not aware of the meaning or the purpose of their lives. And the second question is, what keeps you from living that mission, fulfilling that purpose? And that gives us a kind of sorting out of the issues we have to work with in my profession as a coach or psychotherapist. Many people are under stress. This is a leadership forum, and if you're a leader or a manager working in an organization, there will be stress. And under stress, your contact with the source of your life energy can be interrupted or blocked. And that means that archaic patterns in your brain and body take over. And you will get into modalities of fight, flight, freeze. And there are many different sources of distress. There are many different ways of coping with stress. But the best way to resolve stress is to reconnect to your source, to your essence. So if we talk about energy, in logosynthesis we have two key characteristics. And these are maybe very different from how you've been thinking about energy in your life. Maybe you're familiar with logosynthesis already. I see a few people on the list who are familiar, who come from our logosynthesis community. Welcome. And if you never have thought about this, I invite you to just treat this as if it would be a fantasy. You just let it sink in. It's a way of looking at things, and it might be a different way of looking at things than you're used to. So here we have two key characteristics of energy in logosynthesis. And the first one is that matter, energy, information, consciousness is either in flow or it is not. And we can say that energy can behave like light as a wave, then it's continuous in flow, or as a particle, then it's still and frozen. And if you look at this beautiful drawing, you will see that light is two things at the same time. If you look at it, you see the word wave in this graph, but if you look more closely, you also see the word particle. But you never can see two at the same time. Your brain is switching between those two meanings of the graph. And this is in fact what life is like. Sometimes we focus on what freezes us, sometimes we are in contact with the flow, and it's a question of switching and switching your perspective. So in an ideal life, which you don't have, all of your life energy is in flow. You can say you're enlightened. In flow, you're fully connected to universal consciousness. You have a purpose, your life has a meaning, and everything seems to be okay. This is one extreme. The other extreme is if no life energy is flowing through your body anymore, you're dead because your body needs a minimal amount of free energy to exist on this planet. So normally, a part of your life energy is in flow, another part are frozen. That's life, c'est la vie for those who speak French. So if you look at daily life, we have all kind of experience, all kinds of things that can happen that disturb the flow of your life energy. We can call that trauma or stress, and this changes something in your life. In such events, a part of your energy freezes in patterns. And the most important patterns energy freezes in are disturbing memories. Something has happened, your life stopped from that moment. Nothing was the same anymore. There was violence, there was abuse, there was an accident, someone died, and the memory of that event freezes your energy from the moment on you think about it. Another thing is looking at the future and have fantasies about what's going to happen. We live in times of Corona now. Everything seems to change. There's a massive insecurity. We don't know when the next lockdown will happen. And there may be an anxiety. How am I going to cope with that? In fact, this is not happening at this moment, but the fantasy in itself is enough to freeze your energy. So that's the second main pattern. And the third pattern is a limiting belief. So I'm not able to, I can't do this. People don't like me. Whatever it may be, that limiting belief is going to influence the free flow of your energy. And that means if your energy is frozen, then you lose awareness of the meaning of your life, the purpose of your life in the present. Your mission, what am I here for? Your relationships, the contact with the people around you, the open flow of energy. And most of all, you lose your connection to your essence, to your higher self, to the part of you that has come here with a mission. So frozen energy creates distress, it makes you ill, and it blocks your development. And if you're under stress, if you're not healthy, if your development is not continuing, then you will be in trouble in leadership and business, because that's the focus of this forum. So if your energy is flowing freely, then your development continues, your intention becomes clear, what are you here for, your life purpose can be fulfilled. And that means when we work with logosynthesis, we can help you to restore the flow of your frozen energy. So energy is frozen or it's in flow. And then we come to the next characteristic of this presentation. The second characteristic of energy is that energy belongs in the right place. And that means that your energy, a human's energy, has its own place. It has a field where it belongs. I like this graphic of a person in a field of energy, and you can see the meridians, you can see the chakras in this image, but the most important aspect for this presentation is that you're embodied in a personal space, and that space is yours. And that means that if you're healthy, your energy is centered in your body, it's in your personal space, and your energy field is coherent. That means every little single wave is connected to another wave, and it's connected to your essence and your mission. And that means that your energy is available for your purpose, for your mission, for your destiny, for what you came here for. If the situation is traumatic and distressful, your energy can lose this coherence. Your energy is disconnected from source, from essence. It's split off. We also call it dissociated in the clinical professions. And that means your energy freezes and fragments. And so instead of this flow, there are structures in space which are frozen, which are disconnected from your essence. And these frozen fragments contain memories, fantasies, and beliefs, coming back to these main applications of logosynthesis and main characteristics of energy structures. Not only that, your energy can split off from you and land somewhere else in space, but it's also possible that energy of others can be attached, frozen, glued in your space. Someone else put a part of their energy in your field. Others leave their traces, and that energy doesn't belong in your field. So you need to move energy to where it belongs, and you can do that with logosynthesis. So this may be pretty abstract. Is there anybody of you who needs an explanation at this moment? I think we are in time so we can have some discussion. I don't see. Yeah.
Dr. Lammers, somebody
Yes.
has said, I'm new to logosynthesis. There
Welcome.
seems to be, so I'm asking the question for this person.
Yes.
There seems to be a parallel to traditional Chinese medicine and the flow of qi.
Yes. The difference is that traditional Chinese medicine has a lot of different patterns they describe in the qi and the blockage of qi. For our work in logosynthesis, it's enough that energy is either frozen or it's in flow. We don't work with energy in flow because it flows and it goes towards your destiny, towards your mission. And we are trying to resolve the blocks in energy. So that's indeed a parallel. Is that an answer to the question?
I think so. I think so. Somebody else says, what about if the energy is beyond our personal spaces? How can that negatively affect We are losing the energy if it's unfocused on our purpose.
If that energy is lost from our coherent system, then it's somewhere. And then it can be, let's say, frozen in a memory, in a belief, in a fantasy, and that will affect us, and it will distract us from our mission. And I'm also running a procrastination group on Facebook, and procrastination is a typical example of frozen energy. You're not in contact with your mission, and you're doing something, whatever it is. You're distracted from what's important because probably something else is not resolved. So one of the things we have to do if energy is frozen is to reconnect that to our essence, to our free self. I will show you later how that's going to work. Is this an answer to the question for the moment?
Yes, I think so. And there's another question on frozen energy, and I think you've covered that. So that's great. There is a question in the Q&A. Does interrelating not mean there's always a movement of energy between people?
Yes.
From Raymond.
Yeah, there's always, let's say there can be an interaction between the patterns of people, or there can be a free exchange in communication. Many people communicate through patterns in which one person has a role and another other person has a role. And if you're really in full contact with another person, then you feel that the energy is flowing. Everybody has been in love at least one time in life, and there you feel this flow, this energy that's freely flowing. How's that?
Yep, I think that you've covered it. And somebody else, yes. So if you can pop your questions in Q&A, and we'll let Dr. Lammers carry on.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
So you need to move your energy to where it belongs. That's characteristic number 2. And these frozen energy structures inhibit or block the free flow of your life energy. And that's autonomy, creativity, spontaneity, flexibility, calmness. That's the free flow in different tempi. Logosynthesis can help you to resolve these patterns, to restore the flow, and that means that once that flow is there, you start healing, growing, developing, and you're on the path to fulfill your mission. And now you're interested in how I'm going to do that, or how Logosynthesis does that. And here is something very interesting. I think this is the most important discovery of my life, and that is that words have power. And what is this power of words? If you think about words, you're thinking about something you often never think about, because words are there all the time. And if you look at what words are doing, they assist us in communicating with others. I'm using words here now, and you know what I'm talking about if I talk long enough. Words have a potential to label something. If I have a glass, I know that the word glass refers to this thing in my hand. Words have a potential to separate what's important from what's unimportant. If you say this is good, this is important, this is bad, this is not important, and it assists you in creating judgments. We're judging all the time. We're polarity beings. We judge people, things, objects, and events. This is a good workshop or a bad workshop. This is a good president or a bad candidate, and so on. We have a potential to judge, and we have a way to formulate beliefs about the world, and we have a way to formulate facts about the world. So you can understand the world with words. The earth rotates around the sun, and I say that you get an image and you see the earth moving. Switzerland's a parliamentary democracy. You know what it means. You understand what democracy is, and you have your ideas about Switzerland. You have also descriptions of what's your family, what's your work, what's your job. So words help you to organize your thinking about the world and yourself. But there's something in words in which words can do more. And that's what this workshop is really about. So words can change energy patterns. And if you look at spiritual traditions, wait a minute, this goes too fast. The power of words is the origin of creation. The power of words activates the energy that creates all that is. So words and sentences have an active manifesting power, and that power works beyond the content of the words. If you say these words, something is happening. So if you look at the Old Testament, Genesis, the first book, and God spoke, "Let there be light," and there was light. God didn't make much of a fuss. He said, "Let there be light," and there was light. In the New Testament, we have something similar. In Greek, it's enarche logos. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So the Word is equal to the divine. And if you look at this sentence, in the beginning was the Word, it's in the beginning, it's not at the beginning. And this is not only the case in Christianity, we see the same in the Quran. And it is He who created the heavens and earth in truth. And the day He says, "Be," it is. His word is the truth. So there's a direct connection between creating, being, and the word. So maybe you have to get used to this for a minute. And that's not rational. This is a creative principle. This is not only true for the divine or for God, because the manifesting power of words also is present in people. So we have a long tradition of curses and blessings. I say something to let something happen. Something bad, a curse, or something good, a blessing. Some people are able to heal a wart with words, with a formula. Voodoo is something which is based on words, and if the voodoo formula is spoken, something happened to this person, he becomes a zombie. In psychotherapy, this potential hasn't been used much, or in changing people. We have some experience with hypnosis, suggestion, autogenic training, but did you know that the word abracadabra, that's an Aramaic word, it means I create through speaking. So I say something and something happens. So there is this very specific potential words have to change energy fields. And logosynthesis uses this power of words. And that's different from using words to name something, to describe something, or to explain something. So how do we do that? We activate this power of words with the help of specific sentences. We say something and then something happens. And we restore the flow of your life energy. You have heard that energy is either in flow or it's frozen. And it's in the service of healing and development. So we are working towards a free flow of energy which makes you more aware of what you're here for in this life, and it makes it easier for you to have a constructive contact with other people. And you just speak those sentences, and the power of words starts working immediately, and it's beyond reason. That's really something to get used to. For most people, also for professionals, it took myself probably 3 or 4 years before I really believed what I saw happening in my study or in my consulting room. And you can use this power of words to reduce stress, to resolve blocks, and to heal anxiety. And that's how Logosynthesis works. So now we're going to do an experiment. We're going to work with one part of your life experience, and we're going to work with resolving limiting belief. And you can use the Logosynthesis basic procedure for a wide array of issues. That's the basic procedure we start from. We have lots of other procedures in our training, but that's not where we will work with today. I don't want to suggest that you know everything about Logosynthesis after this session, but this is to create an experience how the power of words works upon a limiting belief. So we focus on the resolution of a limiting belief. Many people have beliefs or hold beliefs that lead to stress and diminished joy in lives. And that's though the beliefs that make you sick in the long run, or which lead to burnout, or which lead to conflict with other people. And I would want to invite you to have a look at this list of beliefs. Which one sounds familiar for you? I'm not good enough. I'm too stupid. I'm too slow. I'm too weak. I'm too lazy. I can never do anything right. I'm not lovable. I'm in the wrong place. I'm too ugly. So I invite you to choose a belief from this list. Take the worst one when you want to choose. And if you don't have, if you don't hold any of these beliefs, you can use something which is also limiting in daily life. And so maybe we go to the chat for a moment and you choose one of your beliefs and you make a note. Are there any questions about beliefs at this moment? Because this is important when we continue. I can't see it, Pam, so are there any reactions to the beliefs at this moment?
Yes, I think people are a little bit shy, Dr. Lammers.
Okay,
so I'm going to write in.
Okay, so no problem. So just write it down for yourself. Write down the belief you want to change. If you want to share it, you're welcome anyway. If you don't want to share it, I respect that. And if you have a belief, you can let it work for a moment. So how does this work for you? If you believe this, how does it change or how does it influence your life?
There you go, Dr. Lammers. There's a few coming through. I'm in the wrong place. I'm not clever enough. I can never do anything right. So yes, there are people who are, I'm not shy anymore since I put mine in. I'm lazy.
Okay.
So there you go. There are a lot of comments.
Okay, so now here's my question. How true is this belief for you? How strong is the belief? On a scale from 0 to 10. A 0 means this is not true for me at all. It's nonsense. If you had a 0, you wouldn't write it down because it's not important. And if it's a 10, you can say, I'm fully convinced that this is completely true for me. I am too lazy, and that's the truth. So make a note of this number. And so often it's the number that comes up first. And then you start to think about it, but at an unconscious level, you have the number already.
So we have a 6 and an 8 and a 5. So there are a few numbers coming up.
Okay. Then the second question is, how distressful is this belief for you? The fact that you are too lazy or too weak or whatever. If it's a 0, I'm not feeling any distress. If it's a 10, it really disturbs me. It's very distressful. Okay, I'll make a note again. And now we're going to do the Logosynthesis thing. You're going to apply 3 sentences. And that's what we call the Logosynthesis basic procedure. We use that again and again in very different themes. So these sentences will free the life energy that's frozen in this belief and move it to where it belongs. So principle 1, it's energy is free or it's frozen. Principle 2, energy is in the right place or the wrong place. And these sentences will restore the free flow of your life energy, and the only thing you need to do for that is to speak those sentences without any specific emphasis or intention. You don't need to make something happen because the words will make it happen. So I'll say each sentence in parts. You repeat each part after me. You let the sentence sink in until the next instruction. So you just say that part of the sentence softly, you let it sink in, let it work. You don't even need to understand the sentence. So think again of the belief X you want to change, and I'll give you the sentences of the Logosynthesis basic procedure. You repeat what I say after me, and here it comes. And you repeat it after me. I retrieve all my energy. Repeat. Bound up in this belief. And then you state the belief. That's different for everybody. And I take it to the right place in myself. Repeat it again. And then you let these words sink in. You let them work. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to move a thing. You just let it happen. Now we're going to move to the second sentence. And you repeat after me. I remove all non-me energy. related to this belief. And then you say the belief. From all of my cells, all of my body, and from all of my personal space, and I send it to where it truly belongs. And let the words sink in. Let them work. And then we move to the third sentence. I retrieve all my energy. Repeat after me. Bound up in all my reactions to this belief. And state the belief. And I take it to the right place in myself. In the here and now as an adult person. In the service of my mission in this life. And let the words sink in again. Just let them sink in. Let them work. Okay. And now you explore what happens if you think about this belief now. Explore the effect of thinking about the belief. How true is the belief? On a scale 0 to 10. 0 means not true for me at all, it's nonsense. 10, I'm fully convinced that this is true for me. And please share your first and second number on the truth scale for this belief in the chat. And I'll stop the sharing for a moment so I can have a look at the chats too. Five and still, 5, 6 to 4, 4 to 2, 10 to 3, 9 to 7. The limiting belief is that less powerful, diluted. It's like it's strange to me. It's not mine. So the second question was, how distressful is this belief for you now? So how distressful is this belief on a scale from 0 to 10 now? 0, no distress at all. 10, the highest possible level of distress. Compare to your previous note. And again, share your first and second number. So what happened to the distress? 9 to 5, 9 to 3, 6 to 2, 0, 7 to 2, 8 to 1, 10 to 0. This sounds like a typical logosynthesis experience. So what's next? So this is of course a logosynthesis demo for many people at the same time. There are very many options to tailor the application, and if you're a professional, you can learn to use it with your clients. So I promised this program for a moment.
Dr. Lammers, there's quite a few questions in the Q&A, if I can open that up and
That's
see.
good, because I have in fact presented what I wanted to present, and my presentation is over, so we can have an open discussion from here. So
okay, fantastic. So Atul from India says, transference or projections, are they energy fields being transferred? Question mark.
That's a very good question. A transference will usually means that I put an energy structure of a person on another person. So if we were talking leadership and business here. So if I have a boss and I transfer an energy pattern in my personal space, which I made of my father, I can put this construct between myself and my boss. If I retrieve the energy which is bound in this image of my father, take it to the right place in myself, remove the energy of my father from my field, then I can probably look at my boss from the perspective of an adult person instead of a little child. Is that an answer to the question?
I hope so. It sounds important. Yes. I have another one.
It's very important. Yeah, go ahead.
But isn't it normal that right after this almost meditation and calmness, it goes down, and afterwards it may well go up again? So somebody's saying, how sustainable is this effect over time?
The more precise you apply it, the more definitely is the effect. If I work on a very specific memory or a very specific belief, then this belief will be neutralized also afterwards. So it's not just the relaxation. Of course, this is a very meditative technique, and you could say it's a kind of trance induction, but the effect of the words needs that context of a trance, but the effect of the words is independent. The effect of the words is independent of the state of calmness. The calmness helps, the relaxation helps, but the effect of the word is independent from that. So the more precise I work on something, a specific memory, a specific image or sound or voice moment, the more let's say continuous the change will be.
Okay, there are many more questions. I'm going to go through them quickly.
Go ahead.
Do we say each of these three sentences just once? Do we say
Yes.
each of three sentences just once?
These sentences are sorry. These sentences are one cycle. and the cycle works as a whole for specific aspects. And the words are important, and the processing pause after the words is important. Each processing pause, so you had the waterfall 3 times, and you need to think about it as a one unit or one cycle. And there will be a beginning of the cycle in which there's a certain level of suffering or a certain level of truth in the belief, and there's the end of the cycle in which things are different. Then it's possible to review the issue you started with. And often, if you start to work with distressing or disturbing memories, they are layered. So you take away a layer and there's a new one. And then you start again. The procedure stays exactly the same, but the subject may change.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Let's go into Rosie says, I felt this as an energetic movement. Is this normal?
Yes. You can have all kind of, this is an embodiment workshop, so your body can react to this. You can have strong reactions in the sense that your body suddenly relaxes. There may be a change in your mental perspective from being sad to being irritated. There may people might have rabbit eye movements while they're processing you. So you see a lot of phenomena on the physical level. That's normal. Usually it's very gentle, and if you work on, let's say, serious disturbing memories, you better do it with a therapist or with someone who is trained, because he can hold the space for you in which you are processing. You don't need to do everything on your own.
Right. I think we have time for one more.
Okay, go ahead.
What are your thoughts on the impact of the health system based on pathology rather than in salutogenesis? I hope I've said that correctly.
I didn't understand the last term.
Salutogenesis. I don't know.
Yes, I know what you mean. Okay.
Okay.
Let's say I'm very pragmatic. This is how I work. Other people work differently. For me, human being is a divine being, and I try to create an environment in which this reconnection to the divine can take place. I cannot change society. So I think people are healthy until they stop being healthy. And then we have a lot of different techniques to get them healthy again. My way of working is to restore the flow of energy. And that's basically salutogenesis. In other words, with a specific way of working.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, thank you so much, Willem. This was a fascinating session, and I'm sure a lot of people got so much out of it. You can find Dr. Lammers on, his website is on the chat. It is, I did have it written down, but then I was writing so much, www.logosynthesis.net. So you can find him there. You're also welcome to join the coffee break session in the portal, so you can carry on this chat after this session. To let you know as well that the next session in this channel is on the boundless body by Dr. Neil Pfizer. If you would like to continue any discussion, you can join our embodiment Facebook group. The link is also in the chat. And so a very quick note before we go, you are able to watch this session again for free in the next 48 hours. However, you're also able to buy the whole library to digest and rewatch 1,000,000 times in your own time in both an audio and video format. And during the conference, it is a whole 50% off. By buying this library, enables the very essence of this free conference. So we thank you wholeheartedly in advance. If you're unable to purchase the library, you're welcome to make a donation to either the conference or one of our charity partners. And then back to you, Dr. Lammers, a final word from you on your top tip to be more embodied.
Okay, my top tip is first to buy my book, of course. So my book is called the same as the title of this presentation. So Logosynthesis, Discover Logosynthesis, the Power of Words in Healing and Development. You find it on Amazon. And then the top tip is reconnect to your essence and live that essence. And Logosynthesis can help you with that.
Thank you. And somebody just quickly has asked, what is the title in French? Has it been translated?
The French title is not available yet. The team of 4 people is working on that. And I guess it will take another 3 months. The same for the Italian and the Dutch version. We have a German version at this moment of this book. This is all very new. It is published just 3 weeks ago. So this is, and it offers a complete overview of the theory with the sentences, with the philosophy, and a number of beautiful applications.
Thank you so much. Thank you and goodbye, everybody. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pam. Thank you, Roxana, and all the best.
Thank you so much. It was an honor, and it was such a powerful session for me too.
Okay.
We have 2 more minutes, Pam. Would you like to answer one of the questions?
Sure. We can answer another question. Yeah.
Okay, for the end.
Can this technique be used with addiction recovery? Yes, so that's the question.
Yes. In fact, addiction is a way to not feel. In Logosynthesis, you address what is so painful that it can't be felt. If you are addicted, it means that you suppress something very painful. Logosynthesis helps you to address what is so painful, to neutralize it, and then you need less of the addictive behavior in whatever form. I'm working with this also with procrastination, for instance. And substance abuse is a way to feel better. Logosynthesis is also a way to feel better, but it works better in the long run. But of course, you need a professional to help you with that. It's difficult to do this on your own, but you can try.
Thank you so much. I hope that answered a lot of your questions, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye, thank you.
Goodbye. Bye-bye.